Alrighty, guys, welcome back into another Better and Green production. I am Ethan. Here with me is Wyatt, and today we have the debut of our college basketball show, Getting Technical by Better and Green. Wyatt, happy to have you here. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. College basketball is right around the corner, starting on Monday, I believe, November 6th. I think that's a Monday. But yeah, I mean, we're so focused on football that now we kind of have to not shift our attention to, but make notice of the start of college basketball. So I did a little bit of research, not as prepared as I would like to be, but I think I got enough to have a little reasoning behind some of my picks. But yeah, we're going to know a lot more as the season progresses. It's so hard to tell at first. I don't even know, again, who's on the Michigan basketball team, to be honest. So there's a lot to learn, but I'm excited to talk ball. I know me and you are pretty big college basketball fans. You can see all your Michigan State stuff. It is basketball season now, so that trashy football year is over for you. You're all focused on basketball, and you got a hell of a team. So I'm excited to see your thoughts about Michigan and the rest of the league as well.
Yeah, it's kind of opposite directions for us. I'm leaving football in the dust, getting ready for basketball. You have still another probably 2, 3 great months of football before you have to get into basketball. But yeah, today just kind of gonna go over some futures. We do have the first games, some of the lines coming out today. So, yeah, this episode we're just gonna kind of spitball some futures here. We're gonna try to film this 2 to 3 times a week. Once the season gets going, talking about some of the Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday slates, the bigger slates on the board. But yeah, any futures you're looking at right off the bat?
Yeah, so I think, well, I'm a Michigan fan, and I cannot touch Kansas this year. Hunter Dickinson left my Wolverines. He was always kind of a dick. His last name is Dickinson, so it kind of makes sense. He was always a dick, but he was like my dick. He was the guy on my team that was the asshole. As soon as he's not on my team anymore, he's the biggest asshole, biggest dick I've ever seen in my life. F that guy. So I can't root for Kansas. However, I do think Kansas is a clear and obvious choice to pick to win it all. They're just loaded. They're the reason they're the number one team in the country right now, preseason. They probably will be for quite a while now. But I like Duke. I like Duke. They're the second favorite to win it all, plus 1,100. The further you go down the list of national champions, it's like you're really making a stretch here. In my opinion, there's two obvious choices. It's Kansas or Duke. I can't bet Kansas, so I think you got to go with Duke. Another great, amazing recruiting class as always for Duke. I forget their star player they're returning from last year. Their big white guy, 6'10" or whatever he is. He's a beast. So yeah, I think Duke it's a little square, but again, I can't pick Kansas, and Kansas and Duke, in my opinion, are by far heads over heels the rest of the country. So I'm gonna go with Duke. Plus 1,100 is good value right now. I think this could get closer we get to knowing more about these teams. These both Kansas and Duke are gonna be like 600-700 in the next couple weeks. So I like Duke right now plus 1,100. I think it's good odds.
Yeah, tough to go against the chalk. I feel like the national championship futures are so hard just because like this year we had uh who was it? Florida
Yeah.
Atlantic, and San Diego State. It's like no one's betting these guys preseason. Obviously, they didn't win. UConn, I'm sure, had a bit of a bandwagon following from the start. But yeah, I have sprinkled Michigan State. Have to. I think they're going to have a really good year. I've put a little bit of money on Texas to win it. They do have Max Abmas transfer from Oral Roberts. Um, they were a really good team last year, so I think they could take that next step. I actually sprinkled Arkansas as
Ooh, I
well.
love it.
Really good defensive team. I think they could be a sneaky SEC team this year in basketball. So I think they could improve. But yeah, you know me, I love my futures, but I just find it hard betting the college basketball national champion just because madness
Yeah.
happens every year.
Yeah. In
Um,
my opinion, it's the hardest championship to win.
yeah,
Football kind of, obviously they've introduced the college football playoff now, but I mean, Georgia is going to be a clear favorite to win it until something else changes. The problem with basketball is you have to go to a tournament of 62 teams or whatever, or 64 teams, and anyone can win any of those games. We all know it. So yeah, I think basketball is the toughest main sport to win it all.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna get into a conference winner here.
Okay.
This is my favorite future on the board. And this is conference regular season, so not the conference tournament. They just have to win the regular season. Uh, I like St. Mary's to win the West Coast Conference over Gonzaga this year. Basically a two horse race, um, as it has been the last few years. But Gonzaga obviously has been the powerhouse for the last 15, 20 years, however long they've been relevant. It feels like for the first time in like 10 years, they finally don't have Drew Timmy on their team. Only real starter that returned is Ryan Nemhart, that point guard. Other than that, no returners are notable. And St. Mary's was kind of creeping up on them in the last 2 years. So I feel like this is just where that flip happens. Gonzaga's minus 125 right now. If you shop around, you can get St. Mary's plus 140. So I like the value there. St. Mary's returns uh, every single player, I believe, from last year. They are one of two teams to return 100% of their minutes that they got last year this year. So very familiar. A lot of seniors on that team. Um, Gonzaga, on the other hand, is 270th out of 352 for returning minutes. So kind of a new team there. Like I said, no Drew Timmy, which was obviously a huge piece of Gonzaga. And St. Mary's has been extremely tight with Gonzaga in the last few years. So I think at plus 140, like I said, it's going to be a two horse race anyway. So I think taking the underdog there with more returning starters, more seniors on the team, and a team that has really been right there with Gonzaga, I think it's good value.
Yeah, so I I can't complain with that at all. St. Mary's was catching Gonzaga, like you just said last year. Gonzaga, I have no problem betting against because I think they're frauds as always. But yeah, I did the Power Six conferences because I'm adding the Big East to that the Power Five. Did not touch the West Coast, so I'm glad you touched on it. But yeah, I have before I get into my conference predictions, I would also like to say I did love Texas plus 4,000 to win it all for the same exact reasons you just said. Abrams, I believe, the Oral Roberts guard. I think he was one of the highest scoring players in basketball the last couple years. So he's now on Texas. They also got a a transfer from, I forget who it was the SEC Player of the Year. So he's also on Texas. So I love Texas at plus 4,000 to win it all. And my other national champion that I don't mind sprinkling is actually Creighton again. Creighton made it to the Final Four, or was it the Final Four? Final Four or Elite Eight, one of the two last year. I think it was the Final
Yep.
Four. But
I think San Diego State, Florida Atlantic, UConn. I think it was Creighton.
yeah, because I
I think
think
you're right.
San Diego State beat Creighton. Anyways,
I think you're right.
love Creighton. They're at plus 2,500, which is actually pretty high for them. I believe that puts them in the top 10 or top 11 for favorites in the country. So I don't mind Creighton at all either. Quickly, I'll get into my conference predictions. Big Ten, I'm obviously going to go with Michigan State here. Can't do Purdue. Purdue will, have a great season. They'll probably be undefeated for majority of the time, which scares me for the Big Ten conference winner. And again, this is not including the post tournament; it's just the regular season. So it does scare me a little bit, but I think MSU is just a better team. Yes, Purdue has Edie, but Izzo always finds a way to deal with amazing players. So I think Michigan State's absolutely loaded. I love them to win the Big Ten. Speaking of Michigan State, I'm not going to take them to win it all, but their Final Four appearance is plus 550. Love that. This is the definition of a Michigan State Final Four run if I've ever seen it in my life. I don't think they're going to win it because they haven't done that since 2000, but this is the definition of a Tom Izzo Final Four team. So I love that at plus 550. The Big 12, I just said I like Texas to win it all. I love Texas to win the Big 12. They're at plus 500. They're the third favorite in the Big 12. Again, I can't back Kansas, and I think the second is Arkansas or someone. I think or Tennessee. No.
Yep.
Tennessee's the SEC. Arkansas. I don't know. Whoever the second is in the Big 12. I can't think right now. But Texas is number 3. I love them to win it at plus 500. Again, they have the Oral Roberts transfer, and then they have the previous Big 12 Player of the Year from Iowa State who transferred over to Texas. So Texas is loaded. They're always in it, just can't compete there. The Big East, as I just said, I love Creighton to win it all. I like Creighton to win the Big East. They're third overall in the Big East in odds at plus 300. You got Marquette, who I know exhibition games don't really matter. Michigan State lost to Tennessee. Michigan, who is projected 11th out of 14 teams in the Big Ten, beat Marquette in an exhibition game on Monday. So one of the worst Big Ten teams, Michigan, beat the number 5 team in the country in exhibition. So I think Marquette's full of crap. Shaka Smart, I used to like the guy. I don't think it anymore. And I think UConn's the other team in there. It's tough after that national championship run. Are they going to do it again? So I really like Creighton there. Pac 12, not really a clear answer here. You got Arizona, USC, UCLA. Those are my three options there. Don't love Arizona, so I'm going to go with USC. I think they're just going to have the hype with Bronny James. Even if he doesn't play, they're going to have all this social media hype. They are at plus 300. SEC, my sleeper here, Texas A&M, plus 4,500 or plus 450. Love this team. They made a deep run late in the season, did not correlate to tournament success, but I think they won like 10 or 11 games in a row to end their season. Ended up being ranked. Like they were the hottest team in the country. I really thought that was going to translate to tournament success. It did not. I think they lost in the second round, but love Texas A&M this year. They are the third favorite in the SEC. So love that there. They're returning 4 out of 5 starters. And then the ACC, I already talked about it. I'm going to pick Duke to win the ACC. But that's a real quick rundown of my Power 6 conferences, I'll call it. My favorite out of all of those, I think it's going to be Creighton. It's my favorite out of all of those to win the Big East at plus 300. Big East is a powerhouse. They always are. But for some reason, love Creighton this year.
Yeah, so I agree with some of those, disagree with some of them. Actually, one I do disagree with is Creighton. Um, I'm looking to bet against Creighton early in the year, and this just goes back to the returning minutes too. So I guess I'll just start in the Big East. I would take a flyer on UConn to win it, although I'm not big on backing the team that just won the national championship. You know that. So that'd be my hesitation there. But Marquette and Creighton are actually in the bottom 10, both in returning minutes from last season. So a lot of unknown there with both those teams. I know I can't think of his name. Big guy for Creighton is back for them. Who's obviously their big star. So I'm sure Creighton's gonna be fine. Marquette's probably gonna be fine too. Like you said, they're the 5th team in the country right now, but they have that Tyler Kolek, I think is his name, who's Wooden Award nominee or candidate. So I think they'll end up being fine, but I think you could probably make some money betting against those teams at the beginning of the year, at least against the spread, just as they try to form their new lineups together. I agree with you on Michigan State in the Big Ten. We were big on fade Purdue last year. Purdue does return a lot of starters too. Actually, I think all their starters. Ethan Morton, I know, is back. Obviously, Edie, Gillis, Fletcher Lawyer, Brain Smith, all return. I think Purdue will not be as fraudulent this year as they were last year, just because I think their guards are going to play a lot better. Edie's still going to be just big and gumpy like always. Um, but he should actually get some help from some of his other wingers, which does make me a little nervous. But yeah, like you said, I don't really see how they're going to guard the guards from Michigan State when they match up. So I do like Michigan State there as the underdog. Um, I mentioned Arkansas. I kind of like them to win the SEC plus 800. Um, again, just think the odds there are kind of too good to pass up. So I'll take a little flyer on Arkansas. And then I agree with Texas. I think of all the ones you mentioned, yeah, that's about all I had. Didn't love the Pac-12. The Big 12 is it's just so loaded.
Yeah.
I mean, that conference is always so good in basketball, so that one's tough too. Like I said, do lean Texas, but yeah, other than that, I have a couple Wooden Award nominees that I'm looking at. And then that's kind of all the features I have. But two guys close to home that I'm going to talk about here. First of all, it is Hunter Dickinson plus 900. Could see him winning Wooden Award like the MVP of the season. Obviously, really good player at Michigan for the last, I don't even know, 4 years, 3 years. You and I both got to see his talent through and through. Um, and I just feel like on Kansas, this is a championship caliber team. Not that Michigan wasn't when he was there, but Kansas is just a step above of what Michigan was. They're going to get a lot of national games. He's going to be a very popular player. He's a very talented player who can shoot from the outside. He can bully his way down low. So I just think he's going to be just that kind of face of college basketball this year on a really good team that could end up winning the championship. Obviously, they're the favorite to win it. So I think at plus 900, it's pretty decent odds on Dickinson. And then I'm going to just say I think you should sprinkle Tyson Walker, Michigan State point guard, plus 4,000. Um, if Michigan State makes the run that it sounds like you and I could both kind of see them making, he's going to be the front runner of it. To me, he's as close to Cassius Winston as what probably anyone could be to Cassius. I think he's going to be an extremely clutch player this year. I think he's going to put up a lot of points, kind of be that game breaker. When we need a bucket, he's going to be that guy. So I see a really big year for Tyson Walker. I think 40-1 on a team that could make that Final Four run. He's going to be at the front end of it. Just think it's really good value on Walker. So like those two guys.
Yeah, I don't have it pulled up. I agree with Dickinson because it only makes sense that a guy leaves Michigan. He has the best career in the world. Just makes sense. Tyson Walker probably also makes sense because I'll be rooting against him all year. So he'll probably beat me in every bet. But I did see briefly when I was scrolling through there, Abrams, the Oral Roberts transfer over at Texas. I think he was, middle of the pack on that list. I'm not sure if you have his odds up, but I don't mind him on there either.
30-1.
Yeah, I don't mind him at all. I mean, he was, one of the leading scorers in the country last year. Obviously, playing on Oral Roberts doesn't have quite the, practice against these Power Five teams, but I think he's going to lead Texas, and I think Texas has a team to support him. So I think he could be up there, scoring 27 to 30 points a game, and that's tough not to put him on the front runner of that list if he is going to be the highest scorer in college basketball. So that was one I did look at. That I think may be worth a sprinkle. So, again, to wrap up all my thoughts, my best futures in my opinion, right now to place for value purposes, love Texas to win it all plus 4,000. Love Texas on the Final Four plus 700. Love Texas A&M at the Final Four at plus 1,200. Then Michigan State Final Four for me plus 550. Those are my favorite futures in regards to value. And then I guess probably throw in Abrams in there for the Wooden Award. So to wrap up my thoughts, those are my biggest bang for the buck plays.
I love it. Yeah, one guy I did kind of forget to mention here for that Wooden Award, maybe a small flyer on Armando Bacot from North Carolina. He's 16-1, so I don't know if the value's that good on him. He's kind of a down low. He can't do much offensively from the perimeter or from outside the paint. But do you think North Carolina could bounce back after that championship year? They had a really down year last year. I kind of think they were overconfident. I think he was overconfident. So I just see North Carolina kind of bouncing back this year and having another good season that we're used to from them. Obviously, he's going to be the guy there. So I won't be playing that, but I could see Armando Bacot being back in the conversation. And then before I let you go here, there's just one game. We do have a few lines out for Monday's games. One game I am looking at, and it makes me puke to even say it, but I kind of want to lay 19.5 with Purdue at home on Monday against Samford. Reason being, like I said, Purdue returns all of those starters. They obviously got embarrassed in the tournament, knocked out by FDU in the first round. And I just think they're going to come out screaming in this game. Samford, don't know much about them, admittedly. So don't know if they're some juggernaut. I did look up their roster. Doesn't look like they have a bunch of tall guys. Looks like their tallest starter is 6'6", which I know FDU is the shortest team in the tournament, but that makes me think they're probably getting ready for Samford. Like, we can't lose to another short team. Like, this is how we defend it. This is what we should have done against FDU. I just think it's a good spot for Purdue. So 19.5, it's a lot of points. But that's a game that kind of caught my eye.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the slate at all, but I don't know if I can back Purdue this early in game one. So that scares me. But I mean, yeah, I love the big spreads, honestly, both in football and basketball, especially to start the season. I'm always a sucker for a 30, 40 point spread. So, I haven't looked at it much. Honestly, I haven't looked at Michigan's schedule at all coming up either. But I'm excited for college basketball, man. It's going to be overwhelming because we're going to have college football going, NFL, NBA, NHL, now college basketball in there. It's going to be a little overwhelming, but we'll try to keep you guys updated, try to keep these as short as possible, just give you the information we think you guys need. But I am excited. So thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Looking forward to doing this show. Like I said, probably a couple times a week. This probably will be the longest one just since we're not talking individual games. If you guys enjoy this content, we do have more videos. We have football videos, NFL and college every week. We're doing other, recap videos, YouTube shorts. So just check us out on YouTube. Follow, like, subscribe really helps us. Also, check us out Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all the social medias. We are very active on there. And Wyatt, thanks for being here today. We'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, thank you. See you guys.